The big brute from Isuzu, the MU7, is on the program. We've also got the full year figures from Siam on the auto industry's performance in the last fiscal. And if you want to feel protected, it's the armoured version of the A8L from Audi. Hi folks, and welcome to CNB. So we've got plenty packed into the program for you as always, and we will begin with that industry report card. Now, the fiscal year has ended, and as expected, there's been a lot of pressure on Motown to deliver not just in terms of volumes, but also in terms of profitability. A lot of the manufacturers have struggled over the past few months. So let's break it down for you. Let's look at it segment-wise and find out just how things have panned out for the industry and what the road ahead looks like.
The sales report card for the auto industry for the 2013-14 fiscal was as disappointing as expected. What has been really worrying is a slide in car sales for the second consecutive fiscal, falling 4.65% this year, and it's not likely to look up anytime soon.
The growth forecast, what I'm saying for passenger vehicles, if I'm lucky, if I'm praying, it'll be +0. Motorcycles, two-wheelers looks good and positive. Commercial vehicles looks a real challenge again, I think, next year, unless a lot of the knots in the economy are untied and a lot of the infrastructure products are, cleared out and they start moving.
Overall, vehicle sales last year were up marginally at 3.5%, buoyed by two-wheelers which grew 7.3% year-on-year. A strong growth by scooters at 23% outshadowed the motorcycles which were up 3.9%. The slowdown in the infrastructure space has resulted in a 20% slide in commercial vehicles.
Sentiment to buy cars is not so great. So I would not say just sentiment to buy cars. To be precise, general sentiment is not so positive. There's so many reasons, whether it's increasing fuel prices, high interest rates, GDP, while it's still close to 5%, yet it is growing, but it is below what people expect for a country like India. And so many other factors which are impacting sentiment. So sentiment has not changed, and as a result we are seeing this drop in the volumes.
Not surprising perhaps, Siam deciding not to provide any growth forecast for the new fiscal that we're in. After all, its forecast for the year gone by was 6%, and we've all seen how that's turned out.
So the industry in doldrums, but hopefully things will change going forward. Hopefully we will have a stable government in place, and so after that things should start to improve. At least that's what most analysts expect. Now let's bring that Audi onto the program. This is the A8L sedan, which you know well. It is the flagship of Audi's range in India. But the car we're going to show you is the Security variant. It's called the A8L Security. It is offered only in the long wheelbase all over the world. And yes, when I say security, I do mean it's armoured. It can protect you really well. It's the kind of car that heads of state, celebrities, and perhaps mafia dons arrive in. Yes, this is the Audi A8 Security. It is only the A8L or long wheelbase that is offered in this special Security edition. The cabin looks like a regular, well-specced out A8L. And so yes, you have all the bells and whistles, leather and wood, screens and gadgets that any big shot could possibly want. So it looks like a regular enough cabin, doesn't it? Well, overall the car does look pretty much like the regular A8, except that you can see the door is much thicker. So if you look closer, it's also a lot heavier. Thankfully it sucks itself in. The windows also, if you look closely, you can make out there's something a little bit different about them, but otherwise, externally, the car looks pretty much the same. So it may look the same, but it is built differently. at an Audi-owned location somewhere in Germany. Yep, they won't tell us where. Now it's made of high-strength steel, it has Kevlar plates in the floor, besides an aluminium alloy that's used on some panels, and ceramic as well. And a bunch of other materials that we can't tell you about. Of course, the windows are also a special thick glass, and you guessed it, we can't tell you its thickness.
So as I mentioned, the doors are really heavy, which is why they have this special extra hydraulic arm down there, which lets you operate them. You can also get optional buttons to operate the doors electrically so that you don't have to push them or pull them. And in case of an event where the car's doors get jammed and you want to quickly get out, you don't have to break the windscreen as you do in some other armored vehicles. All you need to do here is press a button. That's a special switch inside, which I can't show you because that part is a little bit secret, which allows you to literally blast the doors off their hinges. Simply push them out and out you can get.
The car has run-flat tires, also a sensor that monitors air quality to ensure that no toxic gases get in which case it shuts off outside air. It even has a fire extinguishing system with nozzles all around the car. Now Audi has had this variant on the A8 since the last generation car, and soon the facelifted version of this third gen car will also be available on the Security version. Some of Audi's rivals offer sedans and SUVs with similar capability, but from Audi, it is just this one model that has this option.
So just like the other armored cars that I've driven in the past, even in this one, there is a perceptible difference in the performance. After all, the car is a whole lot heavier, but it doesn't mean that it becomes a very slow car. No, in fact, the 500 horses that I have to do my bidding, well, they do their job adequately. You can really rip this car, get out of a situation quickly enough, because that's the kind of response you want from a vehicle like this. And in fact, that's where having Quattro as standard also helps, because it just makes your maneuverability and agility that much better.
The A8L is available in two engine variants, and the diesel is the 4.2 range topper on the A8 family, while the petrol, or the car with me, is also the range topper on this side. It is the monstrous and massive W12 with those 500 horses, as I said. Growl. The car can withstand grenade and other explosive blasts. It's bulletproof naturally, and it has an invisibility cloak too. Okay, I'm kidding about that last part. That would be cool though, right? But there is one more feature that surely gets everyone's attention. And then there was this too.
This is Unit 290 requesting backup.
Alright, I had to have fun with that. I mean, how often do you get to do that, right? So if the siren wasn't enough to get attention, you can also use this public address system that the car comes equipped with.
This is CNB and you've got the all-new Audi Security version of the A8 right here on the program.
Like that.
But of course, I didn't stop there.
I have found a new toy. I'm not giving it up.
Or there.
I can do this all day. Yes, the car is running, I'm wasting fuel, but I can still do this all day.
Or even there.
Someone take it away from me. Or don't.
Yes, they took it away alright. Oh well, SVP out.
Right folks, it is time to slip into a short break here on CNB. I can tell you I'm missing that microphone. That was fun. I almost want that back. Let me get over that as I take this short break. Welcome back to the Prime Edition, and we've got Bala here who has had the chance to ride the Isuzu MU7. Before we get to the review though, Bala, I have to get a quick word from you. Now, you've spent a lot of time with the car, but what about the strategy and what's the overall plan or game plan from Isuzu? Because is there a sense of commitment to the market that you're getting?
It's a bit strange from the outside, at least for me, because the product has been there in the Indian market for 1 year and not many people know about it really, because everybody's asking, is this available here, is this available there? But actually in the 1 year that the product has been available, it's been available largely in the south and 4 markets all down south, which is a bit strange because you're not sure whether the expansion plan will happen. They're taking time to appoint dealers. All of that is too slow for me, and if you really want to be committed to the market, especially in a segment where the Fortuner is dominating, and if you have a solid product, you really want to go gung-ho about it.
And they're assembling locally, so it's not even like these cars are coming in from Japan.
Exactly, because they started the local assembly, they've made it, a fairly decent price, overall, and the package is good, which is why it's all strange to me.
So some level of commitment perhaps, but we need more products as well from Isuzu. Quick word about the market though, because at the start of the show we talked about how dismal things have been the last year. It's still nice to see new brands wanting to come into India though.
Yeah, you got, both bike and new car brands coming in. You had the Datsun, you had the big Triumph coming in with their range of motorcycles. So that level of commitment kind of shows you that there is still interest for new cars and bikes in the Indian market. So, they're not sitting back and saying, okay, let the market pick up and, do the launches then. They're still going ahead with their plans, thinking, when the wave picks up, we'll be there right there. So that's good overall.
So long-term picture still looking intact. We've been saying that for some months now, though. I'm getting a little tired of saying that. But let's move ahead and go straight into that big MU7.
This is one SUV with a definite "don't mess with me" attitude. This reflects in its design and stance with its wide-toothed grille, sharp headlamps and the bold intercooler intake on the bonnet. It might not be as wide or tall as the Fortuner, but the Isuzu MU7 is over 250 mm longer with a very impressive 3-meter long wheelbase. The white footboards and body-coloured roof rails also add to the bold look, which otherwise has no flamboyance. The long, heavy MU7 gets only 16-inch alloys as compared to the Fortuner, which gets 17-inch alloys. The rear looks less aggressive, but it does offer a large windscreen with neatly done tail lights and reflectors on the big bumper. Now, bigger isn't always better, at least from a driving point of view, and we put out the mighty SUV to see if it had the muscle under the hood too. The curb weight of the MU7 is 1,900 kilos, slightly less than the Fortuner at 1,955 kilos. The 4-cylinder 3-litre engine is more than capable of making you smile as you drive it along the highway. Over 160 bhp on offer compared to the 169 bhp offered on the Fortuner, but the MU7 offers a bit more torque at 360 Nm compared to 343 Nm on the Fortuner. The gear shifts are not the smoothest, especially getting into the 3rd and the 5th, so city driving may be a bit cumbersome. The braking is precise, though the clutch and brake levers feel a bit heavy and take some getting used to. The minimum turning radius of 6.2 meters isn't a joy on the big bulky SUV, especially in the city. The Fortuner has a minimum turning radius of 5.9 meters.
Now the MU7 really impresses with the ride quality. That's largely thanks to the fantastic suspension it has, where it pretty much soaks in your bumpy roads or large speed breakers or even that extra large pothole. There's really no big challenge for the MU7. Also, the engine is extremely powerful. It kind of gives you that power delivery which is very linear and is very refined. The steering does feel a bit heavy, but that's not too bad because it gives you that large SUV kind of feel.
The front suspension is an independent double wishbone with torsion bar springs and the rear houses the twin-tube shock absorber. So, with that reasonably powerful engine and an impressive suspension, the MU7 packs in just about enough to match the Fortuner in ride and handling. Currently, the MU7 offers only dual airbags for the driver and the passenger. The big doors are heavy and so they will need the extra effort to be shut. The cabin of the MU7 offers lots of space, but it looks a bit too simple and it's not plush at all. The plastics and the faux wood finish on the dash look a bit cheap. The seats in the front are comfortable and the driving position is not so high like in the Fortuner, with all dashboard controls within reach.
Now it's a 3-meter long wheelbase of the MU7, so you automatically expect lots of space inside the cabin, and you really get a sense of that in terms of the comfort in the rear seat, because you get lots and lots of leg room. This seat has been pushed all the way back, but there's plenty of leg room, as you can see, lots of headroom, so it's really no sense of feeling cramped in this spacious cabin. Also lots of comfort factors like the rear AC vents, which is available on this, as well as the third row.
But like most third rows, the seat sits a bit low. Isuzu has launched the MU7 in 2 trim lines, base and high pack, and in both the Bharat Stage 3 and 4 emission options. The SUV was so far imported and sold as a CBU, but recently the company has started assembling the MU7 in Chennai. This BS4 version has been priced at 22,30,000 rupees ex-showroom Chennai, and the BS3 version starts at 22 lakh rupees, again ex-showroom Chennai. But what is a little strange from Isuzu is its rather slow and phased national rollout plan for the MU7. Currently, the SUV is sold only in 8 select cities across the 4 states of South India. Isuzu is still in the process of finalizing its dealers in the north and the west. Given that these regions have a large base of SUV-loving customers, Isuzu really needs to get going and grow its presence quickly. The current model is a 4x2 variant, but Isuzu is keeping its options open of offering the 4x4 and possibly even an automatic gearbox sometime in the future. We did miss the 4-wheel drive option when we took the MU7 to some uneven terrain, and given that the Fortuner offers the full-time 4-wheel drive variant, Isuzu should look at bringing that variant soon to India. The Isuzu MU7 might be a worthy competitor to the Fortuner with its performance, its muscular looks and its spacious cabin, but with its much delayed entry, the company will need to quickly build its network to push this SUV to the big league.
Time for that little bit extra that you get here on the Prime edition of CNB. We will be answering some of your questions if you're in the market for a new vehicle. So, which car should you buy? That's the first query coming in. It is on a new car, and it comes in from Imadi Rao. Which car is better between the Datsun Go and the Maruti Suzuki Swift? Now, it's an interesting question because, of course, the Go is new into the market, and so there's some buzz around it. In terms of shape and size, yes, they look very similar, but in terms of attribute and in terms of segmentation and price, they are very different cars. So I have to say that they're not really comparable. You're going apples and oranges here pretty much. So if you want something that's really frugal, that just does the job in terms of being a little city runabout with a little extra space and you know, enough space for also maybe a large family, then the Go just does the job. But if you want something a little bit more premium, you want better interiors, you want more features, then you've got to go with the Swift. I mean, there is really no comparison between the two, like I said. The Go from the outside, though, like I also said, looks a little bit ample. So yeah, for space alone and just efficiency, the Go does the job. Now, the next question. So the next question comes in from Nishant. He wants to buy a sedan. How much do I save if I choose the Accent over the Vento? These are petrol cars. He wants to know if the Accent is worth buying. Now again, not really comparable cars because the Accent is sub 4 meter while the Vento is a full-size C+ sedan, as they call it in terms of segmentation. And the prices, I mean, that's a huge difference again. The Accent petrol starts at 4,66,000 rupees and it's well over 7 lakh rupees for the Vento. These are, of course, ex-showroom Delhi prices. Nishant, I'm not sure what city you're riding into us from. But the point here again, better car in terms of attribute, build quality and a little more premium feel. It has to be the Vento. You want something that's frugal, that does the job, saves you a lot of money and is efficient as well in the city, then you got to go with the Accent. So a little bit more space, a little bit more of a premium feel on the Vento. Otherwise, yes, the Accent is worth buying. If you have any questions for me, please go ahead and write in. You can go ahead and do that on Twitter. Use the which car should I buy or the which bike should I buy hashtag. Remember, I will of course try and get as many of your questions onto the program. You can also use NDTV's second screen. This is on the NDTV app on your smartphone or your tablet. Just go ahead and post a question for me there. You can also upload video questions. Remember, we'd like to maybe put some of you onto the program as well. So I shall wait for those questions from you, and please go ahead and send them in. That is a wrap here on CNB, folks. I will be back next week. Until then, it is goodbye. But remember, Auto Prime brings you the best of automobiles right through the week. Every weeknight, 8:30 p.m. on NDTV Prime. It's what we like to call Auto Prime. And so a quick glimpse of what's coming up over the next week for you. And I will say bye-bye and remind you, please wear your seatbelts.
Tuesday on Follow the Star. Travel along the coast with us to the ancient port town of Mamallapuram and its shore temple. Wednesday on Mobile One The Grid, Porsche is looking forward to its return to the Le Mans 24 Hours, and we have a visit to NASCAR's Hall of Fame. Thursday on the Volvo XC Adventure, it's time for the first elimination, and the next task for the remaining teams involves complicated highway driving. Friday on the Getaway, 3 young IIT students travel to the peaceful Koralai beach beyond Alibag, an ideal escape and the perfect getaway.